Hi there, and we start in this video. We will learn a morphology and main life types of life cycle of class Cestoidae and subclass Cestoda. Okay, morphology. Cestodas have a head, and we call this head a scolex. And here you can see a head, or here it is a head. After head go a neck. This is a neck, and here this is a neck. And after the neck, type like segmented body, or we call them proglodids. And this non-adult proglodids and these proglodids are ready to produce a lot of eggs. Okay, the next one. Head or scolex has different shape in various species, and it has 4 suckers which are used for attachment of the parasite to the mucosa of its hosts. And as you can see, on this side there are 2 suckers. On the other side we can find the last 2 suckers, and from this form we can see a head with suckers. These suckers have another name, botrias. The botrias. It is not classical suckers, but it is working. It is good for these worms. Okay, some species have rostulum which might be armed with 1 or more rows or hooks. And you can see on the right figure, this is a rows with hooks, rows of hooks. The next is the unsegmented part with which connect head to the segmented part of the body. The number and shape of proglodids differs in various species. For example, Diphyllobotrium latum has more than 50 proglodids on its body, and the Alveococcus granulosus has only 4 or 5 proglodids, not more. The length of parasitic Cestodas varies from few millimeters to 12 or 20 or 50 meters. For example, Diphyllobotrium latum in our organism grows inside our intestine, grows up to 15 meters. Sometimes inside some humans found it a 20-meter worm. Proglodids are generated from the neck, and they become mature when the productive organs are developed inside each of them. The majority of Cestodas are hermaphrodites, and each mature segment has both male and female organs. All Cestod, what you need to know, are hermaphrodites. And what's the next? Female organs are more developed in segments at the posterior end of the worm, and the last segment containing only uterus. And this uterus is full of eggs of the worm. For example, this is the adult segment, adult proglotid, and it has only uterus with lot of eggs inside. Okay, and the next one, what you must know about this worm, it is a life cycle. There are three main groups or three main types of their development. First group or first type, ciliated larva will be hatched from the eggs in water, as you can see, and now I try to make it bigger. Okay, not so big. Come back. Okay. First stage begin after egg go to the water with feces. In order to survive, the larva must be shallowed by a specific water copepod. This is a freshwater copepod, and in these copepods, this larva develops into second stage larva, or this larva has name procercoid. Water copepods are eaten by fishes, and or this larva, when its larva is free swimming in the water, is ingested by a fish, and it penetrates into muscles of this fish, inside this fish, and here, and it's developed to a procercoid. And this procercoid is stopped its development, and it look like sleep and wait when the definitive host eat undercooked fish or bad cooked fish. For example, there are others. We can catch this fish and eat this fish, fresh fish. Okay, the second group, where my second group? Okay, the second group of worm has a life cycle, very simple life cycle, without change hosts. For example, Hymenalepis nana don't change hosts. This worm live inside our only inside. No, it is bad example. Good in the example will be yes, Hymenalepis nana, it is a good example. This worm can live without change a host, and this worm can live only inside our organism, and we infect when we get eggs of this worm with hands, with hands. Okay, and the third group, or third type, has two hosts. Okay, and eggs in the feces of definitive hosts, when ingested by man or animal, hatch into activated oncospheres, which penetrate intestinal mucosa and reach various organs via venous and lymphatic vessels. Animal becomes infected by ingesting of infected organs. The majority of tapeworms cause intestinal infection, but Cestoda larva can invade almost any intestinal organ in man. And what's last? Many Cestoda infection are clinically benign, but some, such as Taenia solium, the larva cysticercoides, may cause death in certain countries. Most of the Cestoda infection are preventable.